So a couple months ago, Seven Seas Entertainment, one of the biggest manga publishers over here, was getting a lot of heat over the treatment of their staff over there. A lot of problems were coming out from past employees as well. And this is about the time where workers over there were trying to form a union called the United Workers of Seven Seas. The union has already been recognized by Seven Seas Entertainment, and they're working through to meet some of their demands that they were asking for. This video is not meant to add on to that dog pile. It's meant to illustrate a story and the important lessons that we can learn from what came up from it. People had found an old review from a past employee of Seven Seas Entertainment on Glassdoor. In this review, they said things like, until 2019, they didn't even have contracts for letterers. A lot of people were being overworked and underpaid. But here's the important part that I want to focus on. So this person wrote this review specifically because they were fired when they asked for a raise. The lettering contracts clearly state that they can choose not to pay you if it's not to their quality standards. This is a problem because Seven Seas does not adequately explain what those standards are. They do provide a lettering guide with some examples, but not enough to properly cover what they're requiring. This means you can put a lot of effort into a series only for them to decide not to pay you because of quality standards. Management does not communicate, period. I had begun recording metrics and talking with other contract employees about their pay. I was being paid significantly less than other contractors and trying to ask management for a justifiable metric-based raise. Instead of simply saying no, management decided to claim that my work had been substandard for years, and then proceeded to pull me from every single series I had been working on. They claimed they had to put in a significant amount of hours into corrections for my work, which was false because I could look at what actually made it to print and see that 99% of what I worked on made it through. I'd been working with Seven Seas since 2016, and this was the first I had heard there was a problem. In fact, until this point, they had said that over the years we've appreciated your enthusiasm for the work, ability to keep deadlines, and accurately read documents. But instead of giving me a chance to correct these mistakes, they refused to provide any examples as to what I was doing wrong and tried to pass it off like this was a decision made long ago. In short, they burned me instead of letting me try and correct what was obviously a fabricated problem. Obviously, reading all that, you could immediately come away with the take, and it's probably the correct one for this case, that bad managers suck. Don't manage bad. But it doesn't help a lot with the conversation here, right? Because obviously, if you're a manager who's lying about reasons to fire someone, there's not really much you can correct there. But if we were to take what was claimed accurately, then in reality, what had happened is likely that there were problems over the years, but management sucked at communicating them, and it got to a point where they were fine with these mistakes anyways, which is a problem because now you are building up a whole bunch of problems that this person is doing, but you have not told them that they're causing problems, and they just think everything is fine. In fact, they're being praised for things that they're doing, and so as far as they know, everything's good. They don't know that there's something that they're supposed to fix. And if that's the case, this is specifically what you need to keep in mind. Again, like I said, I'm not here to add on to the Seven Seas discourse stuff or how I don't understand much about how that runs on the back end. I know a couple people who work there, kind of. I'm not in communication with them enough to where I would be able to even come close to getting an idea of how stuff runs in the background there. But the key thing that I want to focus on with this story is the lesson that if you are trying to work with somebody and there is a problem, you are not satisfied with what they are doing, even if they're your friend, you have to be somebody who is okay with a little bit of conflict if you want to get the kind of work that you want done. And this is something I've had to learn a little bit since I've been running Jotaku and having writers that write reviews and articles for me, where it's like sometimes there are issues that come up with how they're approaching it or what I'm getting in the end. There are clear, constant issues that'll come up, and I have to talk with the writer to say, hey, this keeps happening. I need this to not keep happening. And I'll show them the clear examples of where it's happening. So like, if I'm getting articles and I say with all the articles, I need you guys to submit at least some kind of thumbnail that we may or may not use, and I get articles that don't have one even attempted on it, or at least sent to me on Discord for me to attach onto it myself, that's a problem because we need to be able to have something to put on with it visually. And I would like for the writers to be able to supply something on their end because it's their article. So I would want it to be presented in the way that they ideally would want. However, if they can't do it, I can do it myself. But, I need some kind of guideline to go with for this, right? And it's not just with stuff like thumbnails, it's stuff with the writing content as well. People write in different ways, and it's hard, especially when you're having people do reviews and featured content, how you want that all to go. Maybe you don't want everybody to be able to write whatever they want in their own style because their own style might seem like it clashes with how the style of all your other articles work and it feels weird. But if you don't communicate that to them, they're not going to think there's a problem. And eventually it'll get to the point where, well, fuck, this is a problem, but I haven't brought it up before, and they're going to think everything was fine, and they're going to be confused of why I didn't bring it up before or what's different then. And you bring it up as soon as possible. You don't have to make it a big deal. Just bring it up as soon as possible, and it gets a lot easier than if you just tell yourself that you're okay with it, and then eventually over time you have to tell them, actually, I haven't been okay with this for months or years, and then you decide to fire them when they asked for a raise just because you haven't communicated any of this to that person. Everybody's quick to say, wow, 7 Seas is really scumming for this, and I mean, for this specific case, it might just be that it is justified. You can see a situation where what he's saying happened might have actually happened, and the problem is just that the fact that they just did not communicate. And it might have been the case that they wanted to let that person go for a while because they have to constantly do their mistakes, and they no longer feel like paying the money to get stuff that they have to keep fixing afterward. Here's the other thing I wanted to mention from his review. At the very end, they mention, don't hire scanlators to work on a series that they built enough hype for you to license in the first place, only to kick them from the same series because suddenly their work isn't to your liking. The thing that I'm getting out of this is that kind of more goes towards my point to where maybe it is the case that they've had quality issues for a while. They were just dog shit at repeating exactly what those issues were, either because this person who was supposed to be managing them is not good at confrontation and pointing things out because they don't want to hurt the feelings of the people that they're probably underpaying. Scanlators, as much as people like to say their work is so much better than some of the official licensors, a lot of these are ambitious 14-year-olds who don't understand what the fuck they're doing, but they're passionate about what they want to do and they like the stuff. And it's not necessarily going to be the gospel when it comes out. It just feels like it to a lot of people because it's the only person translating this thing that hasn't been officially licensed yet. But I don't know, people were very quick to just assume that this whole story should be focused on the fact that 7 Seas management is bad from the view that they're evil, not from the fact that they're dog shit at communicating. That was most of the takes that I was seeing around this kind of thing coming out. It wasn't the specific reason why they were bad. It was just the fact that they were evil. And it seemed like more just like a timing thing, right? So if this had happened, but it wasn't at the point that they asked for a raise, then it would more be a conversation about the kind of thing I'm talking about. Communication is very important in a lot of things in life, but it's especially important when it comes to management, especially when it comes to confrontational communication that doesn't end in some kind of fight. And it's a hard thing to learn and execute, but it's very powerful, and it's something that most managers, I feel like, need to get in the balance of.